Hi, and welcome to my channel. I wanted to read a Bible verse. It is Matthew 5:43 to 44, and it says, "You have heard that it was said, 'Love your neighbor and hate your enemy.' But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." I really like this Bible verse, and it reminds me of a story about loving beyond boundaries. I want to share it with you guys. Once upon a time in a small town, there was a young woman named Sarah. Sarah was known for her kindness, always helping others with a smile on her face. She volunteered at local shelters, baked cookies for neighbors, and even organized charity events. But there was one thing Sarah struggled with: forgiveness. There was a man named David who lived across the street from her. He was gruff, kept to himself, and had a reputation for being difficult. The two had never gotten along, and there was a particular incident that made Sarah even more resentful. One day, David yelled at her for something as small as parking a little too close to his driveway. The harsh words lingered in her heart. Despite Sarah's deep desire to always do good, she found it hard to let go of her bitterness towards David. "Why should I forgive him?" she thought. "He's rude and unkind to me. He doesn't deserve my love." But one Sunday, after hearing a powerful sermon on Matthew 5:43 to 44, Sarah felt a stirring in her heart. The words of Jesus echoed in her mind. "You have heard that it was said, 'Love your neighbor and hate your enemy.' But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." The message was clear. Jesus was inviting her to look beyond her hurt and to love even those who had wronged her. But how could Sarah do this? She wasn't sure where to begin. The next day, she decided to take a step of faith. She baked a batch of her famous chocolate chip cookies, wrapped them up in a cheerful red bow, and walked across the street to David's house. Her hand trembled as she rang the doorbell. But when David answered, Sarah smiled and handed him the cookies. "I made these for you," she said in a voice softly. "I just wanted to share a little kindness." David was taken aback. No one had ever done something like this for him before. He looked down at the cookies, then back at Sarah. For a moment, there was silence. And then something unexpected happened. David smiled. It wasn't a huge grin, but it was real, and it was the first time Sarah had ever seen him smile. "Thank you," he said quietly. "I didn't expect this." Over the next few weeks, Sarah continued to show small acts of kindness to David. Even when it was difficult, she waved at him from across the street, helped him carry groceries once when she saw him struggling, and even invited him to a neighborhood barbecue. Slowly, David began to soften. They started chatting, and to Sarah's surprise, they discovered they had more in common than they thought. One evening, as they were sitting on the porch chatting about life, David looked at Sarah and said, I never thought someone like you would want anything to do with someone like me. I've been so hard on people, but your kindness, it's changed something in me." Sarah smiled warmly and replied, "It's not always easy, but love has a way of breaking down walls. Sometimes we have to step out in faith and trust that love can heal even the deepest hurts." And in that moment, Sarah realized that by choosing love beyond her boundaries, by forgiving and offering kindness to those who might not deserve it, she was not only transforming her relationship with David, but also growing closer to God. Through this simple act of love, she came to understand that true peace and healing come when we follow Jesus' command to love our enemies and pray for those who hurt us. From then on, Sarah and David became friends, and their unlikely friendship was a living example of the power of love and forgiveness in action. And whenever Sarah felt unsure, she remembered Jesus' words, knowing that love, no matter how difficult it may seem, was always the way to peace. This story is a reminder that even in our struggle to love those who may seem hard to love, God is there guiding us and teaching us to embrace his unconditional love. I have a question for you all. How can we apply the teachings of Matthew 5:43 to 44 in our daily lives, especially when it comes to loving and praying for those who may not treat us so kindly? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you guys, and have a blessed day.